So, as you guys have seen during the last couple of days, every so often we get a very, very unique use case of people doing something truly special with blockchain and the related technologies. So on behalf of Chain Exchange, the major host, BlockVentures, and also the global sponsor, PocketBanx, we're going to recognize a young lady called Tricia Martinez for her contribution in delivering a coin for good to the people of Uganda.
So, without further ado, presenting the coin for good is Al Rosario, founder and CEO of BlockVentures. Come on out, Al. This man is amazing. Give it up for him a little louder, please.
Absolutely.
Come on, give him some
Absolutely.
love. Thank you.
He's the reason we're all here. And accepting the award will be Tricia Martinez. Tricia, please come join us on stage.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Please.
Thank you.
Hey, Al, why don't you come with me and we'll let these ladies chat a bit.
We get to have a little chat now.
Great job, Al.
So congratulations.
Thank you.
It's an exciting day.
It is. It's been years of work, and it's paying off.
Absolutely. So I want to walk through a little bit about the genesis for WALA, because I think that whole journey is spectacular. So if we could share with the audience how that came about, what its intentions are.
Yes. So WALA started 5 years ago. After graduate school, I went out to Uganda because I really wanted to understand the problems that existed within the financial systems and the constructs in different countries. And I started my first company focused on universal basic income, so providing unconditional cash transfers to consumers at the very bottom of the pyramid, so subsistence farmers living in extreme poverty. And the problem we kept running into was that consumers would receive money from us through a mobile wallet. They would go to an agent, they would take all that cash, and they would either bury it under their huts or put it in a village cash box. And so we obviously recognized there was a financial literacy problem, but as we ventured into the urban areas where there's a massive and quickly growing middle class, we discovered that consumers were deciding not to use banking. They were opting out of bank accounts and traditional financial services and choosing to put money under their mattress because it was cheaper and more efficient for them to do that. And that's what really inspired the concept for WALA, that the systems throughout the world, the financial systems, are broken. They've never been designed for the consumer. We've taken a traditional savings and loans model in the US and try to force it into Africa, into Asia, into Latin America, and it just doesn't work. And that's why we started WALA and decided to issue a crypto asset called DALA to actually bring this to life.
So you went to one of the poorest continents, decided to just forego these fees, introduce them to a different type of financial literacy, and launched digital currencies in this country. Guys, please, please, because that is no small feat.
Yes.
Amazing. So then the genesis of DALA. So people in the audience understand what that is,
Yes.
how they work together, because they're sort of two parts to a whole.
Yes. So we quickly discovered that the banks, the existing payment rails throughout most countries in the world are inefficient, they're broken, they're expensive. And the reason why consumers are not using the financial system is because there are so many fees associated with them. So whether it's a bank account, whether it's a mobile money account, consumers are paying fees that can range from 5 to 100% on every single action that they take. So they're disincentivized from wanting to participate. We said, all we need to do is remove fees. Remove fees, create a great user experience. By eliminating those barriers, we can actually create a solution design for these consumers around their behaviors. So we looked at Bitcoin years ago as a potential solution, but Bitcoin, we quickly discovered, was actually worse of a solution than in banking and mobile money, because even to this day with Lightning Network, Bitcoin is slow and expensive, especially for consumers who are spending less than $1 on every transaction. The gas fees are just too high for them. So we decided that it made the most sense to issue our own crypto asset and design an entirely new financial system based on these consumers and what they actually need in a network.
Amazing. Can you share with us a little bit about sort of the early days in Uganda through today, some of your key learnings and some of your key takeaways from all of this?
So my biggest takeaway is you have to be on the ground. There are so many crypto companies coming into the space trying to solve such big problems, but unless you are actually solving a true problem, you engage with these consumers on a daily basis and live in those problems, you will never be able to build something that will reach scale and adoption. We launched the DALA crypto asset in South Africa, Zimbabwe, and Uganda a few months ago. We've had over 100,000 users opening up wallets, transacting, using the cryptocurrency to pay for electricity, for their TV services, for utilities, taxes. We've spent years building out this network, but it's taken us years and years building partnerships, the infrastructure, building trust with consumers. None of this comes easy, and it takes a lot of dedication and, most importantly, grit. I think the most important thing I've learned, though, is that the consumer is always right. And unless you're willing to listen to them and take an empathetic approach and hear what these problems are that are impacting them, you won't be able to build something sustainable.
And the consumers in Uganda, very different than the US.
Yes.
What have you learned from them?
So Africa is just an amazing continent. 54 countries, over 1 billion consumers. There's so much diversity. There's so many problems that need entrepreneurs to go there and try to build solutions. There's obviously a lot of corruption, but there's so much hope there that the continent is full of diverse entrepreneurial consumers. It's the youngest continent in the world. People are hungry and looking for solutions, and that's why I constantly say crypto is going to drive adoption in Africa by far faster than anywhere else in the world, because consumers live problems every day that crypto can solve. These consumers, especially in Uganda, are the nicest and most humbling people you'll ever meet. I think, after graduate school, I told my parents, I'm going to northern Uganda, a village called Kitgum. I had to fly into the capital, drove 12 hours out to the villages. My parents were terrified because they're like, we can't contact you, we won't know where you are. And I was like, I need to figure it out. I need to go do it and really see how these consumers live and experience the problems myself. And I think that as an entrepreneur is very important and something that is humbling, and most entrepreneurs should try to embrace.
Absolutely. We share that. I've got parents in the audience that literally have bitten off their fingernails wondering where I was in the world. You've accomplished so many extraordinary things, but you're young. So what's next for Tricia?
I'm an impact entrepreneur. I think that as an American, I was born into privilege. I've been given so many rights and opportunities, and it's purely statistics. The chances of me having this life are very low, and I don't think I think I need to use my privilege to go out and change the world, to solve problems. If I wasn't doing this, I would be trying to solve a different problem. I think we live in a world where we are global citizens, and it's our responsibility to do what we can to try to rid some of the corruption and the inequalities that do exist. So if not Walla, I will be building my next startup, probably within the financial inclusion space as well.
Awesome. Everyone, can you guys join me in a huge round of applause for Tricia Martinez and her Coin for Good award?